today to have the opportunity to share with you some thoughts on innovation. I know this is a conference on brand, and I'm going to switch gear and talk about innovation. Having spent 20 years in Silicon Valley, I just recently relocated to Singapore, actually 2 months ago. I'd like to share some thoughts on how innovation and brand are intertwined. So while we're trying to do this, let me maybe just go through what my agenda is. What I'm going to do today is to cover, first of all, why bother with innovation? What is the impetus for innovation? As a big corporation, why should you care? And then I'm going to go through and talk about what are the barriers to innovation? Why is it so difficult for big companies to innovate? And then I'm going to share with you how MetLife started Lumen Lab Innovation Center based in Singapore to address the issue of innovation in Singapore. So just a quick few words about myself. I was actually born in Singapore, but I've spent over 30 years in the US. I'm a nerd, PhD in material science and engineering from MIT, but now I've just joined MetLife to help them with innovation. So I spend most of my life trying to bring new technologies to market. So let's just start with a well-known brand, Marriott. We all know, a big chain. They own 4,000 properties, and they've done a lot of things right. For example, going with a sub-brand in order to address this different market segment. Basically, they've done all the right things in the brand playbook in order to address the biggest market and so on. And they have a revenue of 14 billion, and the market rewards them with a valuation of 21 billion. Now, then in 2008, come a startup called Airbnb. Doesn't own any property, doesn't really have any brand per se. Interestingly, they just went through a rebrand. This is the new brand that they have. But coming on the scene in 2008, today they basically have over 1 million listings. They've racked up about 30 million nights, and with a revenue of about 900 million, they have a valuation of 25 billion. So the bottom line here is that innovative companies create an entirely new brand that threatens existing brand. That's why innovation is important. Now, another company, BMW, well-loved company, and many would say they are actually very innovative. They have new technology, they've been working on electric cars, very well-loved brand. Then again, come newcomer Tesla, all-electric vehicle, and the last I looked on a per car sold basis, Tesla is valued at 10 times that of BMW. So obviously, there's a huge premium on innovation. And that's why every company wants to be innovative. That's why every company says that they are innovative. But before I go and talk about innovation, I want to maybe take a step back and define innovation so that we're all on the same page. I find that language is very important in understanding. Because if we use the same word to describe different things, then it's really hard to be all on the same page. So I want to start by defining innovation. I'm an engineer by training. I like to explain things in graph. So, and by the way, I do math like a girl. So to support that. So yeah, when I was at MIT doing my PhD, you have to know where the bathrooms are. Because they aren't like the bathroom, they are not on every floor. You have to know where they are because there aren't that many women in MIT at that time. So anyway, sidetrack on that. So x-axis here is business model. You have existing one, differentiated, that is new, different from existing, and then new business model.